sounds more like your mother than you.
There's not much difference between us. A few years and some grammar.
And jewelry, you never wear any.
I don't like cold things touching my skin.
Why don't you invent some hot diamonds?
I'd rather spend my money on more tangible excitement.
Tell me, what do you get a thrill out of most?
I'm still looking for that one.
Hey folks, it's the Blind Guy coming back at you with another good old movie recommendation. And on this episode, we are taking a look at 1955's To Catch a Thief, directed by Alfred Hitchcock, starring Cary Grant and Grace Kelly. So obviously this one's worth watching because it makes it into the good old movie category. And this one's interesting because it came out in 1955 and it was not highly reviewed when it came out. It does a few things very well, I think. The initial story is Cary Grant plays a reformed jewel thief who now has somebody who is imitating his crimes, and he is catching the flack for it. So he has to go on and do on his own what the police are unable to do, and that's catch the thief who's imitating him. So what makes this a good old movie? Well, I think a lot of it's the atmosphere and the feel of this movie. It came out in 1955, and it almost seems like it's the precursor to another certain somebody. Yes, that's right. This definitely has a 007 type feel to it. The way Cary Grant plays his character, and when he's being chased across the French Riviera, It feels like a Bond movie at times without some of the more cringier aspects of the Bond movies. So I almost prefer it over the James Bond movies. Actually, I probably would say I do prefer it over those. The story is okay. It's not paced quite right in my opinion. Some of it seems a little bit clunky for Alfred Hitchcock, which is a little surprising. It's almost like they got caught a little bit too much on the fact they were shooting a lot of this on location, which is one of the strengths of the movie. Is it's actually a lot of it's shot on the French Riviera, I believe is how you say that. But it almost is like they took a few detours from the story to show off some of the scenery and give us some not very exciting police chases over the French countryside or car chases. And my mom actually despises car chases and drum solos. And I am not far behind her on this one, to be honest. I am not a fan of car chases, and this movie is no exception. So I could just leave those behind. But if you enjoy that kind of thing, you might enjoy the movie. I'm sure I don't appreciate the old cars as much as some people do. But it does seem to get a little distracted off of the story at times. It's not a long movie, but that's just some of the things I noticed. The scenery and the shooting on location is one of the biggest strengths of the movie. Cary Grant's got some funny parts in the movie, and of course Grace Kelly's great in this movie. I feel like her performance maybe isn't quite as strong in this one as it was in Rear Window, but it's not bad by any means. One of the things I wanted to talk about though was the ending. So the ending is interesting, but it wraps up fairly quickly without a lot of climax to it, which was one of the big objections at the time when the movie came out. Well, it just kind of wraps itself up. And I was thinking about that because it definitely does. But at the same time, I don't think I can be one of those people that complains about movies getting way out over their skis when they try to wrap the story up, and then also complain when the story does wrap up in a more believable manner. And so I like the ending of this movie because for the most part, it's fairly realistic and fairly plausible. You could actually see this being a real story that happened at some point. It does mention Portland, Oregon in it, which is pretty cool. And Cary Grant claims to be from Oregon, which I'm not sure how that would fool anybody who knows how people talk in Oregon. But he, I guess he pulls it off for a bit in the movie. It scores a 7.4 on IMDb, and that might be a little high. 7.2, 7.1. You know, that 7.5 range is where I'd say you have to own the movie. 7.0 is where I think you should watch it. So it's above the 7.0, but I wouldn't say you have to own this one. So those are my thoughts on 1955's To Catch a Thief. Let me know in the comments what you think. Where would this rank in Alfred Hitchcock's discography, in Alfred Hitchcock's filmography? And just let me know what you guys think of it. Does it feel like a Bond movie to you? Additionally, if you want to support the channel, shoot me an email and you can sponsor an upcoming video. You can also use the link in the description to rent this movie. That does help the channel out as well. Also, if you just use that link to shop on Amazon, it also helps the channel out without costing you anything extra. So I really, really appreciate all of my subscribers and everybody that helps me do this. It's a lot more fun when people are watching the videos. Let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions for other movies you'd like to see reviewed. And I will see you on the next episode of A Blind Guy's View. Laters on the Menjay.
Laters on the Menjay.